You mentioned the initiative on critical and emerging technologies. We've been hearing a lot about this in the last year or so. But people who are watching you at this time would wonder, what is the actual takeaway? There's been a lot of talk between the two countries on critical and emerging technologies. But what does this mean in the real world? What does India get now from the United States, which it didn't have access to technologically earlier?
So Rahul, as I said, we certainly need to take a bigger picture and have a clear idea on what's happening in this relationship. It's not called the most consequential partnership just for nothing. Let me tell you some concrete areas in which cooperation is happening. Let's start with healthcare. You know, healthcare cooperation today has deepened very much, and especially during the COVID time. When we talk of healthcare, keep in mind affordable healthcare, affordable medicines, affordable vaccines. You may be surprised that 50% of generic drugs in the United States are actually produced by Indian companies. So if you go to a pharmacy in the United States and ask for a paracetamol, something which very ordinary people use, you will see made in India. That's the kind of penetration. Similarly, go for vaccines. You know, look at the rotavirus. Look at the latest vaccine on COVID, Corbavax. You know, the cost of these from $60 have come down to $1 after bulk production is being done in India. And it also creates jobs and capacity in India. So similarly, if we come to IT, digital, innovation, startup energy, etc., this basket, and I will come to ISET specifically. Again, there is a whole lot of synergy here. Look at the energy basket. Within energy, you have renewables, solar. In fact, one of the biggest solar production is being set up in Tamil Nadu by First Solar, and that is being financed by DFC. There are so many examples. Look at the iPhones, etc., etc. And also the fourth, education and knowledge partnership. I'm sure we'll get a chance to get to that. But do keep in mind, there are 200,000 Indian students here, 2/3 of them in STEM areas. They bring value and competitive edge to the United States. And finally, the defense and strategic side. So just taking a minute and talking about what you mentioned, ISET. Now, ISET includes quantum, AI, defense innovation, space, telecommunications, 5G, 6G, semiconductors. You know, all these areas are going to be covered. And when we talk even of semiconductors, you may be a bit surprised that semiconductors also require a huge trained manpower. And India today has the youngest manpower in the world. So I've touched a few. I want to underline to you that this has indeed become a substantial relationship.
In the build-up to this visit, there's been a lot of focus on defense purchases. In the past several decades, India has relied heavily on buying weapon systems from Russia, and before that the USSR. And the advantage with buying from the Soviet Republic was that it came not just as a transaction, but it came with a substantial component of transfer of technology. People watching would wonder whether the purchase of a GE F414 engine for the light combat aircraft in India, there's been talk about the Predator deal, if that is officially announced. Will all of this be as a purely commercial transaction? Because The Economist magazine in this week's cover describes the India-US relationship as the world's biggest transaction. Is it a transaction, or is it actually at a good competitive rate involving a component of transfer of technology which really ups India's defense capabilities?
So I'm not going to comment on what X, Y, Z say. Let's talk of facts. And here, in fact, this is one area which very clearly points to the transformation of relationship. You know, earlier it was a kind of a buyer-seller. a kind of a market-oriented relationship. Today, it has gone much deeper, and that's where I say that this transformation is of a different level. So today we are talking of co-development, co-manufacturing, co-creation. I don't want to go into specifics right now, because once the visit is there and the outcome document is there, you will see it. But it is indeed important that the kind of areas, and you have to only listen to what Jake Sullivan has said in Delhi and what he has been saying. I think one of the most significant aspects of this is that there is enhanced trust and confidence. And I told you that technology will not be shared if there is no trust and confidence between the two countries. And this certainly goes beyond what has been the traditional relationship. I mean, beyond the constituencies, beyond the people. In fact, United States and India, when we say are working on ICET, there are indeed tangible outcomes. And as I again pointed out to you, that look at the scientific R&D, and this visit you will see that both the leaders will be focusing and showing on that. So quantum, AI, defense innovation, space, advanced telecom, etc., all of them have been touched upon. And therefore, even when we look at, for example, some of the elements of ICET, like semiconductors, there is a CHIPS Act in United States. There is a semiconductor mission in India. The semiconductor mission has actually tied up with a number of research institutions in the United States. So again, I will bring it back that the tech partnership, United States is a tech powerhouse. I don't think I need to elaborate on that. It's very, very visible. And India is certainly an emerging tech power. And the cooperation and collaboration between the two is very natural. And it has been powered by trust.